So you want to play a tank that's also a long-range unit. Well, you came to the right place, because I, Exterior's here to teach you Ethereal Blade Shen. In this video, we're going to cover the strongest items, strongest units, and strongest augments. Before we start, I have a Patreon now if you want to support me, or if you want to learn how to level in certain stages, you can check it out in the description down below. Now back to the video. For best in slot items on Shen is having double Rage Blade. This allows him to keep autoing over and over with his true damage ability, and speaking of true damage, having a Bramble Vest is the best on him to amplify that true damage even higher, because the more armor Shen has, the more true damage you do. Before I say what alternative items you want to use, always have at least one Rage Blade on Shen, because if you don't, this unit will not dish out as much damage as he's supposed to. And then for the other alternative items you can build, having a Titans is pretty decent because it gives him more armor and it gives him some attack speed. And then Giant Slayer is also a pretty decent alternative since it gives him that extra damage you would need to kill tanks quicker and it gives him some attack speed. And then a pretty high win rate item on him is Bloodthirster. This isn't too bad because it gives him some Omni Vamp. And then for the best Ornn artifacts you can put on Shen would be a Sniper's Focus. This item allows him to do extra damage since the longer the range is, the more damage he does. And since he's going to become a 4 hex unit, he's going to become a 5 hex unit after that. A Wit Sense is also pretty decent because it gives you Omni Vamp and magic damage and attack speed, which is something that he needs. And instead of having a Bramble Vest, having a Seeker's Arm Guard is actually pretty good on Shen because the more units that he kills, the more armor he gets and the more AP he gets, which also amplifies his damage. And then the best tank you can have on his board is having a York, and his best in slot item is having a Redemption. Always prioritize this item because it heals the rest of the Behemoth units on your board. And then Declaw is actually really good since there's a lot of AP in the meta at the moment. And having a Bramble Vest is pretty decent overall because it nullifies crit and it also gives him some AD resistances. The other best alternative items you can have besides a Bramble Vest is having a Steadfast Heart. It's a pretty high win rate, it's pretty good overall, and it's pretty easy to slam. But the other one that's actually really good as well is having a Protector's Vow because this item gives you both magic resist, armor, and a shield. And then Gargoyle Stoneplate is similar to Protector's Vow, but the only difference is you don't get a shield, but you get more armor and magic resist every unit that's hitting it. And for the best Ornn artifacts you can put on him, having a Talisman is very powerful on him because once it hits around like the 20-second mark, York just becomes like a god and just kills everything. And then Spirit is a very good stall item for him, so it gives him more healing. And then having a Eternal Winter is pretty decent as well because it also stalls the board since it will stun everything around him. The best support items you can put on this comp is having Big Gem. This item allows Shen to do extra damage after like a certain amount of time, and then Aegis is very good because it gives you more resistance for your tank and you get more attack speed for Shen. For utility items, the best item holder would be Morgana with Morellicon to get that anti-heal on the board. The best units to play at level 4 is having a Shen with at least a Rage Blade. This is the most important item to have on Shen, and then having a Gargoyle Stoneplate on one of your level 2 behemoths like Cho'Gath, or having it on a Malphite because most likely you're not going to get level 2 York. So having a Redemption on one of them is actually very useful to do. And if you cannot get one of the behemoths in the front, you can have either a Caitlyn or an Aatrox to get that ghostly damage going for Shen, so you can somewhat win more rounds. And then we're moving on to level 5, you want to throw in a +1 ghostly, so Shen can do extra damage on the board, either a Caitlyn or Aatrox is fine. Now we move on to level 6 where you actually play the game. If you don't have a level 2 York or level 2 Shen yet, roll down to at least 30 gold so you can force that level 2 so you can save HP. And then by then you should have double Rage Blade, and you put the Redemption that you put on your level 2 Cho'Gath, level 2 Malphite onto the level 2 York now, and then just rebuy them again, and then you play for 6 behemoths here, and then you 3-star a Shen and 3-star a York, and then you go for level 7. You throw in a Morgana with anti-heal such as Morellicon or Red Buff. And yes, Red Buff does work on abilities, so it's actually pretty good on Morgana since Morgana is AoE, meaning she hits the whole board with anti-heal. And then when you hit level 8, you throw in a Wukong so you can get Sage with Morgana and Wukong. You also get heavily with Malphite. And then to upgrade it even further, you take out Cho'Gath and throw in an Udyr. And then by the time you hit level 9, you can throw in a +1 utility unit such as Rakan or Lysandra or anything you want. Even 2 level 2 Ornns is very powerful because you have 6 behemoths, so therefore the other Ornns also very tanky. And then for the augments, in order to play this Shen comp, you have to use the Ethereal Blades augment, which empowers his ability to have long range. If you don't have this augment, you cannot play this comp. But by the time you do get this augment, the best augments to take is Behemoth Crest. You can just throw it on either Wukong or Morgana so you can get that extra tankiness, because the more Behemoth dies, the more armor and magic resist the rest of the Behemoth gets because they share their armor and magic resist. And then Ascension is very good because the longer the fight is, and most likely the fight will be a long time since Behemoths are all tanks, you're gonna have extra damage. And then to get more attack speed for Shen, Best Friend's pretty good. Speaking of attack speed, you have my bow's pretty decent for that, and Harmesis is pretty good on Shen since he can get some Omni Vamp, which he would need because you need him to stay alive long enough. And then Inspiring Epitaph is pretty good overall because it gives you some shield and attack speed. And that is it for my Ethereal's Blade Shen comp guide. If you have any questions or if you want me to cover a different comp, just let me know in the comment section down below. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Later.